Destructuring also works with arrays, but first a joke. Why did the developer leave his job? Because he wanted arrays. Haha, all right. Terrible. Now we need to talk about destructuring with arrays. So sometimes you have some data where it's based on its index value. You want to get the first, the second, and the third thing out. So I might be able to say const name equals details. It's like the first one. And you could say const ID is details the second one. And you get the point what I'm doing here. And that's no way to live your life. So what we can do is use destructuring, where we can say const. And instead of using curly brackets, because when you pull from an object, you use curly brackets to destructure. When you pull from an array, you use square brackets to destructure. Similarly, we're going to learn about maps and sets. When you pull from a map, you'll use curly brackets. When you pull from a set, you'll use square brackets. So we will say name, ID, and website is equal to details, right? And that's just going to take the first, the second, and the third thing and make us a whole bunch of variables. So console log name, ID, and website. So what we got, westboss123, westboss.com. Cool. So that is very helpful when you have index-based stuff. It could also be helpful when you have like a comma-separated list or string. So let's say we're given some data in a string that looks like this. We have basketball, sports, 90210, and 23. That's the item name, the item category, the item SKU, and the item inventory left on hand. And you say, thanks for the data, but that's just a string that's not really helping me out. But we do know that one thing that we could do if the data is perfectly separated by some sort of separator is we could say data.split it based on some sort of splitter right here. And then we've got a good array here. And then you know that you can also destructure an array. So let's say const, let's just destructure that baby right away. Item name, category, SKU, and inventory equals data.split, right? Why? This is going to return an array right here. And then just immediately we're going to destructure that array into its own 4 variables that we have here. So if I console log those variables, we should see basketball, sports, 90210, and 23. Good. I'm really happy with that. One question though is what happens if like the data is not great and you have like maybe some extra stuff on here like West and Boss and cool. 3 extra items. What happens to them when you destructure something that is not the same length as the actual array? Well, nothing actually happens because it will just throw those extra ones out. Watch, if I go ahead and console log all of these again, you'll see that they still work. And then there are no variables to get these last one because I did not destructure them. Sometimes you do want to sort of get the rest of them. And I say the rest of them because there's this thing in ES6, and we're going to learn a little bit more about it in a future video, but there is a helpful use case in destructuring with using rest. So let's say I have like a team and I want to know who's the captain, who's the assistant captain, and who is the rest of the actual team. So I'm going to make myself a quick array here. Okay, so I've got a list of names here. Wes is the captain, Harry is assistant captain, and then the rest of the team is just going to be part of the team. So how would you like destructure that into captain, Harry, and then the rest? We say const captain, assistant, and then we do, you ideally you want to say team. Let's just do that, equals team. Or not team, I already used that variable. We'll call them players. Equals team. Let's see what that gives us. Captain is Wes. Assistant is not defined. Don't know how to spell assistant. Is Harry. And then what are players? Sarah. Well, Sarah's not the only player. There's also Keegan and Riker. So how would we get them on? Well, we use what's called the rest operator. And it does exactly what it says. It just gives you the rest of them. So let's take a look now. What is players? Players is an array of whatever's left. So sometimes you want to grab the first, the second, and the third, and then you just want to like bundle whatever else is on the end of that array into the rest of the array, and that is where you can use the rest operator. We're going to talk much more about this. You probably may have also heard of the spread operator, which looks exactly the same. We'll dive into that in future videos.